In 3, 2, 1, you are listening to the Real Spicy Podcast. We got another good guest, a good friend of mine. Yo, wait, I went way too fast on that. I got to definitely introduce myself. My name is Pedro. This week, we got the very pretty, very beautiful Rico, straight out of Redondo Beach. What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Hey, man, I hyped you up a little too much.
I don't know, man. It get me all shy. I usually don't get pretty shy. I'm pretty like lax and laid back and confident, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, fuck, dude. You think that highly of me? Oh man,
damn. You know, sometimes I'm all about hyping people up. You know, I'm a pretty good hype man.
You are the best hype man. Literally, they paid you to do it.
True.
They paid you to do it,
dude. If I was a little bit more like if I had a more mean mug face and just more angry, dude, I would have been a star back in the hip hop era of the 1990s.
Oh yeah, you could have been right there with Fat Joe. You would have been the murder squad.
Dude, I would have been there with Suge Knight. I'm just too nice, man. I'm too cuddly, you know?
I could see Ja Rule introducing you, be like, yo, like something on that.
I just want to be a hype man and then be on stage and do nothing like back in the day.
I could see you definitely either. Not only that, I feel like you'd be the dude in the music video that when they show the main artist Paul coming out of the door, it's all super slow. They show him, but then they show his homie, and you're like, I don't know who that guy is, but he makes sense because that guy would hang out with that guy.
Yeah,
you'd be that guy.
So DJ Khaled.
You had pretty much DJ Khaled before he was DJ Khaled.
Yeah,
that's basically what it was.
Yeah, because
no one knew who he was. They just knew that's that dude.
That's the guy, dude. Some of the ad libs nowadays, that just reminded me. Some of those ad libs, every rapper has their own unique ad libs.
Well, no, not only that. Okay, so I was talking about this with our friend Dillman, and I was saying dude, remember back in the day, nowadays, a beat's gonna be good by the producer tag.
Yeah,
you'll hear it be like Metro Boomin, what's some more, or it'll be what's the other one, K Swisha, or like those ones like that. But back in the day,
Django Beats Production,
Jalo Beats, holla at me,
yeah.
But back in the day, you don't remember all those good ones that were then too, like the Akon, the Convict. That was a good one. That was a banger one, or even Red One. That was also kind of poppy,
Yeah, because every artist had, or every label had their own intro. But I'm talking about the ad libs.
No one's better than, I think Ludacris takes the cake for the best ad libs. I can't remember what song it is, but there's one song and it's literally every other line, or no, I think it's every line, and it's just woo, yeah, haha, come on. Him and I want to say Young Jock.
Oh yes,
haha, yeah.
Yeah, I think every rapper just had ad libs, regardless. New Age is just mostly ad libs. What's the three guys? Migos.
Migos. Let's say Offset, but
Offset.
He's the worst or the best, I guess you could say.
Just
yeah. Woof. Like bitch, my dog. Woof. That one takes one of my favorites.
And then DJ Khaled's another one. DJ Khaled. And I'm like, damn, dude. I wish I was able to market myself with my name, like Jason Derulo. He sings his name.
That's another one.
DJ Khaled yells his name. Sean Kingston, back in the day. Hey, yo, Sean Kingston.
Oh, I totally forgot about him.
Now that I reminded me, my name, my stage name, which is Pedro, was inspired by Sean Kingston. So I remember we were in high school, and I was like, yo, I wish I had a name that I can sing. Like Sean Kingston, and I'm like, yo, just Gil Revolorio doesn't sound good. So this girl was like, yo, hey, yo, Gil Pedro. And ever since then, it stuck.
There it goes.
So she would call me Gil Pedro for the longest time, and then social media popped off.
Makes sense.
Gil Pedro, everything. And I remember I talked to her years later, and she's like, is that the name that I gave you? I was like, yeah, actually.
She's like, where's that check at?
I know, right? Where's my royalties at? But Sean Kingston was a big inspiration to why I call myself Gil Pedro. It's just usually your name should be 2 to 3 syllables.
Yeah.
Like John Cena is one of them.
Rico.
Yeah. So those are usually the best names.
I always love that. So I mean, everywhere I go, everyone always Rico. That's your real name? Yeah. I'm German and I'm Mexican. I'm a Wiener Schnitzel. Come on, that's what I got. That's what I got going on for me. But what I've always loved and I thought was hilarious was, what I've always loved and what I thought was hilarious was when people would play that game, all right, what's your porno name? And it would be the name of your first pet and the street you grew up on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a cat and his name was Bobby. I don't know why, but that's what we named the cat, Bobby.
Bobby.
The street I grew up on was Vanderbilt. Bobby Vanderbilt.
Dude, that's actually
Bobby V, baby.
Dude,
Bobby V got down, dude. That dude was in the 80s. He had the full like hamburger meat. That dude rocked it. Like he was hanging out with Ron Jeremy and his crew back in the late 80s for sure. Bobby V,
dude. Ron Jeremy is if you don't know anything about like the adult industry, at least even if you don't know the name, you see that ugly face, you're like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
I know that guy, Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, Ron Jeremy.
If you're a Sublime fan, you're like, mucho gusto, me llamo Bradley. Yep. I'm horny, you're that Ron Jeremy. Like I remember, I was like 9 years old. I'm like, I don't know who the Ron Jeremy guy is, but he sounds tight. And now I'm almost 30, and I think he's still pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, the guy is like a legend in that industry. It's just so weird. He's just so ugly.
He's still putting out content too. Don't ask how I know, but I heard from a friend.
Yeah,
he's
still putting out from what I've heard.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, from people through their grapevine and some stuff I've heard. He's still doing work.
For me, it's like I know I shouldn't judge because I'm not the prettiest guy, but I'm like, yo, how the hell are you that ugly yet?
Whoa. Yeah, you are so pretty.
Oh, thank you. But Ron Jeremy though, man, that guy's a legend
for sure.
That guy's a legend. All right, bro. So I want to get into the nitty gritty about you, just because you have like a very interesting life, like super interesting. For those that are watching on YouTube, you'll see that he has a camera in front of him. You love the arts. You love anything that has to do with photography and videography. That is something that I want to touch about. So how did that start? Because from what I know a little bit about how that started, as far as like you went to an art school and that's all. Like that's how I know it started, like more of a traditional education side. But how'd you get into that?
So it all starts from, honestly, it comes from skateboarding. I'm born and raised California, Redondo Beach. It's a little surf town, kind of just 10 minutes south of LAX. And I grew up skateboarding, surfing, doing all those kinds of things. And when you can't skate, you can't surf. Like if you get hurt or when it's nighttime and things like that, all I would do before the internet and YouTube and Instagram and all that kind of stuff was like you would go to a skate shop, you would buy the DVD of like the cool company that you liked and would watch all the pro surfers, all the pro skaters. There would be a video. And I was always like, man, like that's so cool. They have all these cool songs. They're doing all these cool graphics, all these editing. And then like when the guy would land on the floor, it would boom, like the beat would hit, or like that one, like the one, synthesizer would hit and be like in slow motion. Then they would slow-mo when the guy would do like a cutback or a spray, things like that. And I was like, man, I want to do that. Like I was pretty good, but I wasn't good enough to the point where I thought that I was going to be like pro by any means. And I had friends that were definitely on that track. I'm like, well, maybe I can just, take the pictures and all that kind of stuff, reading magazines. Like there's always the guy in the corner in the magazine, just like boom. Or like when he has like the camera, like recording and stuff like that. So I'm like, maybe that's like what I want to do. And then for my love with music, I grew up also being a big 80s fan, listening to all the hip hop in the 90s and all that kind of stuff. So that whole era of music tied in really well with skateboarding. And if you look at like what's really hype right now as far as like fashion goes, a lot of like Supreme and all that kind of stuff, even Off-White, they pull inspiration from like old school skateboarding in the 90s. Like that whole tight shirt, baggy pants vibe that's kind of in right now. That happened so long ago. Like I was doing that before it was cool, and I was getting made fun of for not having the Von Dutch hat, right? So like that's like now a thing, normal thing, so I don't want to go there.
Something about skateboarding before you go on, sorry. Remember those fat ass shoes, like the DC shoes?
Okay, yeah, exactly. Like what it was the Osiris D3 shoe. Like I don't know, you gotta find a picture of that shoe. That shoe was the worst shoe. And then ASAP Rocky worked with Under Armour and made a shoe that looked just like that, but like the big puffy tongue, the fat laces. You would stuff socks to put it in there. Some people would cut the tongue off of another shoe and put it underneath the tongue just to make sure their shoe just looked fatter and doper. And it would be like dudes wearing that, and then the girls would be wearing like those dicky pants with like even it had no pockets on the butt, so their butt looked better. And they'd be rocking that with the big old fat DC shoe with the big fucking logo on the corner. Yeah, dude, that's old school. Now the big shoe industry, that big shoe fashion trend is becoming a thing. Like Fila, Fila got some fat ass shoes, like the basic bitch stompers. Yes, yeah, wow, the basic bitch stompers. You don't even know whether you've never seen them or not. You know exactly what shoe I'm talking about. Oh, absolutely. It's that big white ass shoe. That makes a girl 3 inches taller, and she just feels like she's gonna fucking step on every. And cockroach. They always wear yoga pants. Oh, it's for sure. Yeah, or it's like a really really short shorts so they can make their legs look longer. Yes, that is very true. But I remember back in the day, those were like
everyone made fun of you for wearing those.
Exactly.
Girls and guys would wear them.
If you're wearing those or like those white K-Swisses.
Yes.
If I saw someone wearing those K-Swisses with like Dickie pants, I'm like, okay, that person listens to Fat Joe and fucking, Nelly for sure.
Now that's like the hottest thing right now, which I love because they're classics. They're super clean, like the K-Swisses, the Adidas like tennis shoes. I think they're called Superstars.
Yeah.
Then you got the Filos are back. All the big ass shoes, they're coming back. I mean, low key, I'm digging it.
I'm about it. And also the same thing with that music too. Nelly's still popping. I'm still pumping, some Dilemma.
Yeah.
I'm about it.
Yeah. When you were doing skateboarding, because I remember some of the YouTube videos of back in the day. Did you ever use the fisheye?
Yes. So what I asked for my birthday that Christmas when I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do this stuff because I'm not going to get good. I asked for like an old, really shitty camera recorder, and I spent like $50 of my allowance money, and I got a little fisheye lens. And I was same thing. This big old fucking thing in the front.
Yep.
And all your friends like, check this out. Look, I'm like right in front of your face, and you could see everything. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like it's just a normal wide angle lens, but you wanted that circle ring on the outside. That was cool. So I'm there doing that, and that's pretty much what sparked what I wanted to do. I loved taking that footage, putting it into my computer, finding a song that I liked, and then just editing and putting things together. And then once it came to college, I learned how to make graphics, and then it was kind of like, oh, cool, let me pull like a cool fly-in title, or maybe I'll throw in like a little special effect here, or like a cool lens flare here. So I was editing that stuff together, and then, for lack of a better term, I followed a girl to Las Vegas, and then went to UNLV. And that was where I learned more like storytelling. So I learned all like how to edit better, how to do these graphics, how to do all this kind of special effect, graphic driven style of, not say making movies, but of creating content, for lack of a better term. And then now at UNLV, or not now, but at that point in UNLV, I'm learning, why you have two people in a shot and why this person's there. I learned what it means when someone walks from the screen left to right, like the symbolism in that. I learned more of that kind of stuff. Things that I could pick up when I would watch a movie normally. If I watch it over and over and over, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like that guy was the bad guy. That's why he's, things like that.
Yeah.
I was learning how to do that better and honing in that skill. So now, even for more so what I do now, I work for a clothing company, Travis Matthew. We've been around for like 13 years, very predominant in the golf industry, but we're definitely more of a lifestyle. We have, surfers that are ambassadors. We have UFC fighters that wear our stuff. We've worked with like a lot of different athletes and, from MLB, NHL, all platforms and leagues. And we're very much more than just golf now. So I create with a team. It's definitely not myself. I mean, I'm a part of it, but there were four of us. We call ourselves the AV Club.
Yeah.
That's what we were, right? And together we would shoot stuff, edit stuff, make sound, write stories and things like that. And not just creating like ads, but we do like a documentary series. We would do like day in the life stuff. We would make these funny videos of just like office humor that would happen in, where we work. So that's what I do now. And I've been doing it for 3 years. And I loved it. I mean, before then, I was traveling the country, going from college campus to college campus, I don't want to say talking to girls, but I was pretty much talking to girls for lack of a better term. Also, I was talking to girls to hopefully then talk to guys, right? Yeah. It's a bizarre thing I've done. So I've been like all over, and even in college, I've had like crazy odd jobs. I mean, I worked at a fucking miniature golf. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay. I was working at a fucking miniature golf place that shot laser tag, and I was making pizzas. I've also worked at like at a thrift store and was fucking around there. So I've been like all over, but I felt like everything that I did, minus like the miniature golf shit, and was fun. I was an Oakley rep for a little bit, fucking slinging sunglasses, So.
I do remember. Yeah, you're trying to. The one thing that I remember from you and Oakley, you were trying to get me to buy these lenses that were called the Big Taco.
Oh, no, they were called. Oh, fudge. What were they called? I can't remember what they were called. But
Can I cuss and then you say, oh, fudge?
Dude, okay, no, it's funny. So like that's one thing I always say. So I'm talking to this girl right now, and I was like, and I'm pretty big on like not signs, but one thing I've always said is like I never said Jesus Christ. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like I never said that. I'd always say, damn, cheese and rice, dude. And all my friends at work, like, dude, cheese and rice this, cheese and rice that. So I go on this date with this girl, and she's like, oh my God, cheese and rice. I was like, my heart dropped. Like, oh dang, this is I gotta stick with this one. But again, I'm also like a hopeless romantic that like is into that shit.
Oh, okay, yeah. Are you one of those that? Because I have this tendency too. You look at somebody, you make some sort of connection. You're like, you know what? I think this is the one.
I'm a Scorpio. I fall in love way too easily.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right,
for sure. But to your point,
yeah,
or to your original question. So I mean, I've been doing the videography like my whole life, and art has always been an aspect that I've always made sure was a passion, and made sure I would find a way to work in to whatever daily work that I did, whether it be when I was working at a shoe store, even when I worked at, maybe not so much, but even at the pizza place, shit like that. I always try to be artistic in some way. So yeah, it's my passion. I love it.
Awesome. You left me speechless on that one. So I want to get into the more of the traditional education portion of it. Because one thing is having a passion, and to the level that you're at, it shows that you have gotten some sort of formal education. Where did yours start?
Formal education? Okay, well, for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, my first. So being. This is not a funny story. I think it's kind of sad. Everyone else thinks it's funny. I don't think it is. But anyways, so I was in high school doing the skateboarding thing, and I was like, I'm gonna go this route. Like, my friends are good. I don't need to worry about, like, I wasn't even thinking about college. I was a senior, just going my way through everything. I ran track in high school for a little bit too, and I grew up my parents were born in the hood, like in East LA, South LA. And they didn't go to college. Yeah. My only idea of how to get into college was from movies. And in movies, you always see the kid, oh, I got a letter. Mom, I got a letter from college. I just waited for a letter, dude. Like, all of high school, I just waited for a letter. And I never got a letter because obviously my dumb ass didn't apply to a fucking school. So how am I going to get a letter from a school if I didn't apply? Yeah. But to further make that connection, I was on the track team, and freshman kids in the track team were so good and so fast that UCLA and all these other schools would reach out to them and say, hey, you're really good. You're like a top freshman prospect. Keep UCLA in mind. Keep USC in mind. Keep whatever in mind. So again, I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm not fast enough, but I'll wait for my letter. These kids didn't apply to college. They got a letter. So again, it instilled it in my head that waiting for a fucking letter. Then, and I didn't go to I was like, not say I was antisocial, but I was always skating and leaving school early and all that kind of shit. So I didn't go to a fucking, what's it called? Advisor or anything like that. Counselors. I didn't do that. I said, fuck, that's stupid. Yeah. So obviously bit me in the ass.
Yeah. Are you still waiting for that letter?
Still waiting for that letter. Still waiting for the letter. I'm in my Spanish class. Again, classic Mexican American learning Spanish in high school.
Easy A.
Yeah, exactly. Or it was like a easy B, and if I really tried, I got an A. Yeah. I was like, okay, más o menos. All right, cool. Like, I was in the class. Like, my mom would get so mad. I would like purposefully always be like, hola, me llamo Hans. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Necesito ir al baño. Like, obviously, I knew how to say necesito ir al baño. Like, I could say it like that, but I was always just like, fuck, man, just get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Didn't care. But, so, in my Spanish class, like, again, graduation's in, like, 4 months. A representative from FIDM, the Fashion Institute. Again, I graduated high school in 2008. So, if anyone's older out there, at that time, that show The Hills was like super big. Lauren Conrad was that like the super hot blonde chick, and she went to FIDM, so that was kind of like their claim to fame. I think Project Runway did like one whole season at the school, in LA. So it was like there was some buzz about it, and they're a for-profit university, so they're like, hey, if anyone has not gone to college, blah blah blah, look at FIDM. You can do this, you can do that, you can do this, you can do that. And I was like, oh, sick! Like, I've always loved shoes. Skating or like skateboarding, your shoes just get fucking thrashed. Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna be a shoe designer. That sounds so cool. I'll make fucking shoes. I'll work for like DC or Etnies or whatever, right? Yeah. And I get obviously, they're like, oh my God, you're so great. You're in. Because obviously they're for profit. You just pay them enough, you're gonna get in. This was like allowed, not like the USC way. Right. So I did that, and then doing shoe design for a semester, I'm like, yo, I'm doing like stilettos and pumps. And I'm like, this is not what I thought it was. And then someone was like, well, hey, if you're into like video and this and that, we have, digital media. I'm like, okay. So I learned, Final Cut Pro, After Effects, Logic. I learned how to make music. I learned how to do everything. So that way I would be like a Swiss Army knife for the field. And then graduated, found I had a job working at Vans at the time. And my girlfriend who I was talking to was moving to Vegas, and I was like, all right, I'll move with you. And the deal I kind of made with my mom was that I would go to college. I graduated FIDM with like a 2.5. Okay. At the time, to get into UNLV was a 2.4. So I was like, all right, we're sick. I'm good.
Yeah.
Wrote an essay, did the whole student aid, all that kind of stuff. Got in, and then classic, she cheats on me. But I stayed at UNLV and studied film, and then everything went seemingly. Met you, and that's kind of what that sparked. It was that the education sense of it was just FIDM, or learning how to use a camera as a kid, and then taking it to the next level, learning how to use the computer more so, and then learning the story. So I almost kind of did it backwards. I feel most people kind of learn how to kind of use a camera, and then they learn how to write the stories, and then they learn everything else. I kind of did it in maybe a more non-traditional aspect, but I'm really thankful for what I did, because it made me a faster editor when it came to being behind the computer. And I already had known a lot of the things that kids were doing at UNLV when they're taking like their editing class, they're taking their sound design class, all those things. I didn't have to worry about that. I already knew how to do most of that stuff from the first school. So I can focus on how to tell a story, how to direct better, how to work with actors, because they had really cool interactive classes like that were non-traditional. There was one class that I took where you just made a short film with the kids in the class, and you would have to learn everything from being like a unit productionist, like a UPI, or being someone who was like an AC or a cinematographer, things like that, a gaffer. All those kids who wanted to do those roles got to do those roles. So basically you were kind of like in a, I don't want to say a safe place, but you're in a place where you're allowed to make mistakes and then learn from them. And then the teacher would be like, okay, cool, you're doing that kind of right, try it this way. That lingo is good, but they're going to say this instead. Okay. So it was awesome. I loved it. I mean, UNLV is not USC or, AFI or any of those film schools, but for Las Vegas being, definitely a hub for a lot of things coming this way as far as entertainment goes. I mean, why people shoot in LA all the time? The weather's so great. Vegas is the same way. It's sunny, 300 days of the year for the most part. The weather's pretty predictable, unless it's like those few monsoons we get. Yeah. So that's why this place has kind of been like that hub, and it worked out for me to learn that here.
Okay, dude, that's You build a foundation from the very beginning, very humble beginnings, to get in that formal education. That's badass. And when you first started doing, if you can remember, what was your first camera?
My first camera? Oh man, it was like a Sony Handycam, but it wasn't one of the newer ones where they would shoot onto like a hard drive or like an SD card. It was actual high 8 tapes. So you'd get to I would go to like CVS or Rite Aid and get those little cassette tapes, not like the big ass ones, but a small one like this big. Yeah. And then I'd put that in my camera, and then I'd press record and start shooting. There was like no focal length. It was just you shot it, whatever was in focus was in focus. Yeah. Wow. I want to say it was like a Sony Handycam kind of thing. And then I got, excuse me, just burped. After that, I got like an old JVC mini DV camera. So then they made these smaller tapes.
Yep, the very tiny ones.
The really tiny ones. Yeah. So now I'm working with a mini DV, and this one had like a zoom. So I was like, all right, cool, I got zoom now.
Oh, we're moving on up.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. I'm like 15, 16. I got zoom. Let's go. And then I had the fisheye lens, putting the fisheye on. And then finally after that, my friend was like, yo, I'm going to get a really nice camera. I'm going to get the Sony VX, the VX 1000. That's like that was the standard for skate videos. Yeah. Had focal ring. You can toss on like a cool 180 degree like fisheye lens, so you could see everything, right? Yeah. And those things are like $3,000 at the time. Yeah. So we all I had saved some money. We all pitched in for the camera. He bought it. He kept it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I just bought you a camera. What the fuck, dude?
Pretty much.
Yeah, when you're 16, you're like, oh, cool, yeah, I'll hold on to it. It's fun. I'm like, okay, well, we're all going to be skating together. So we all got to use it. Yeah. But he still, I don't know, I haven't talked to that kid in years. Yeah. So
hit him up. Hey, you still owe me a camera, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, bro. Derek, hit me back up, dude. fucking Derek, dude.
Fucking Derek.
From Northside Redondo. Hit me up. Coming after
fucking
you.
Derek, USC and UCLA. Still haven't sent you those letters.
So I'm still in those letters, man. I'm like,
you check your mailbox every day.
But dude, I mean, like that's just like growing up in, being second. Well, I mean, not more so probably for a lot of first generations, but even second generation families who were Mexican Americans who were growing up in, those areas of Los Angeles. Yeah. A lot of them, like my parents, they worked at McDonald's. They met at McDonald's. Yeah. Got pregnant, had me, and then my dad became a mechanic. My mom was like, a flight attendant. Mm-hmm. You don't need like a lot of training for that. My dad went to a trade school, so he was kind of aware of FITM because it was for-profit trade kind of thing. Yeah. So he was like, okay, he was about it. But again, I was never like into cars or any sort of trade by any means. You know, I hated just being sweaty. I hated being dirty.
Yeah.
So it was more in the sense of like, just give me my skateboard, I'll be out and about. And that wasn't like a focus. It was in the sense of like, go to college because my parents didn't do it. Okay. So yeah, that was how I was raised.
Yeah. I mean, usually I definitely agree with that. Because you kind of take influence from your parents or the generation above you. And I can totally relate on that because I'm a first time middle school student because my parents, my dad only went to the 2nd grade. My mom went to the 6th. So me finishing middle school, high school, I was the first one. Yeah. And then college, they had no idea that I was in college for a year.
Wild.
They just thought I was in high school. Until I told them, you know, I'm in college. My goal is to become a lawyer. So they didn't really understand that. So I remember they would tell like their work friends that I'm like, oh yeah, he's in law school. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding. I'm not in law school.
They're totally missing it.
Yeah. So, but they were so proud. Like once they figured it out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And like, you've been in college. I'm like, yeah. And that's I'm going to college for law school. And yeah, so I definitely agree with you on that. It just that first and second generation are always going to struggle. So you got to lay the foundation for the next generation. So I'm pretty sure for the next generation, they're kind of screwed. They're like, I know what college is and you're going.
Well, trust me, when I have kids, if I have kids, excuse me, if I have kids, they're definitely going to like not be waiting for a letter.
Yeah.
You know, like that's going to be one of the first things that make sure happens.
Yes. From what I know, your Instagram is actually pretty impressive. It's taking you to different states, different countries. You've shot with influencers, models, celebrities. I want to ask you a little bit about that, on what you're able to talk about, if you're able to talk about it. I don't know if you've signed like an NDA.
No, we're good.
Okay, cool. So with that, where has your passion, which is now a job, a career, where has it taken you that you're so proud of?
Definitely. So I think one of to answer that, and it hasn't been something I've done by myself. It's definitely utilizing people around me, and I don't mean like utilizing in a bad way, but like understanding the strengths of everyone else around me.
Yeah.
And figuring out how they can use their strengths and how I can add to that, and being on a team. I've never done anything I've done by myself. It's always been with a group of like my AV club friends, or to get in touch with to get in front of these people. We have like our own producers at work, or we have people on social media who do a lot of the initial reach out and then things like that. So it is a collective. So first thing I want to say is like, big shout out to everyone on my team at Travis Matthew, those who've been there now, those who were there before. Like big shout out to you guys for sure, because this is definitely not something I've done by myself. It's a collective group.
It's a what's the word?
It's a collaborative. Yeah, it's very collaborative. But what I've been able to do with this team, I'm very thankful for, because I've gotten to work with, like you said, like tons of people. What's been really fulfilling for me is the fact that I get to do what I love, edit cool videos for a pretty cool company, and still grow and learn. Like there are with technology, there's always going to be new lenses, there's going to be new cameras, all that kind of stuff. And I'm always like, I'm learning and like Googling, she's like, oh, what's next? Like, oh, damn, this one, oh, it's cool. Like, what's better for this? What's better for that?
Yeah.
So I get to be a nerd still and continually grow, but then I get to get the support from a company that's like, yeah, for sure. Like, you want that one? Okay. Why do you need it? Well, we need it because this and this. I'm like, okay, like, do you want to have cool videos? Do you want that? Like, yeah, we want to do things like Nike. We want to do things like Adidas. Okay. Well, to do that, we're going to have to, put some more coin. And if I have the resources, I'll learn more, and I'll find out a way to make, our videos go from this to look more like that. I'm not saying we're copying, but, they're definitely a very elevated brand look. Yeah. We want to have that elevated brand look as well, because we're not just some regular golf company. We're more of like a lifestyle influenced brand.
Where have you and your team traveled to that you were very proud of? And then the next portion to that, what was like the coolest celebrity or even influencer or even model? Like whoever you liked, who was the coolest person that you got to film with or for?
I think so. I guess to answer your question, I'll just say I'll put it this way. Like I have a lot of like, oh shit moments, like a happy oh shit. Yeah. So when we were in Canada, and we were off the coast of Vancouver, like on a boat, and we're flying a drone, and the boat captain that we were with, it was like our team of 5, and the person that we were filming, he was on like the comm or whatever it was, right? And then you get someone else, maybe about like a boat and a half, or I don't say like, I don't know, like a mile down, and they're just like,
skipper 45, we got 3 big ones on the left hand side.
and we're sitting there flying the drone, just like whatever. And he's like, 10-4, da, 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 you know, all this stuff. I'm like, what did he say? He's like, he says we got 3 orca just, you know, migrating right here. We're like, what? So we're flying the drone, and we fly the drone right over us, and we have 3 orca. It's 2 like fully grown orca whales breaching, and then their 1 calf. Mm-hmm. And like when we're sitting there with like the monitor screen flying this drone, and we're like oh shit.
That's rare.
Like, that was one of my first oh shit moments. Like, oh shit, like this is fucking cool. Like, how often do you get to just be in another country in the boat, like on a boat, just like with all your friends, the people you love working with, and you get to see something so majestic as 2 fucking orca breaching and like to hit their blowhole, and then like the calf kind of come up. We're like, what the like. The video we were doing was on this guy who's an environmentalist who goes around to different beaches across the coast. He drives with his family, and they drive across the coast picking up trash. So we were telling that story. And as we're doing that, so we were going to we were going from one coast of Vancouver to like another site, and then we see this. I'm like, this is not even what we're here to do, but I'd love to just sit here and just watch these orca wherever they go. Like, let's just fly the drone until it dies. Like, I don't care. I want to just follow them. So that was like a big aha moment for me. The second aha moment was we were in Palm Springs, and we had signed up to do a collaboration with Oscar De La Hoya.
Yes.
And like, again, being, you know, growing up in, you know, a Mexican household.
Yes. Oscar
De La Hoya is like, he's like, you know, he's not Julio Cesar Chavez, but for like a Mexican Americans, like he beat him pretty fucking bad too.
Yes.
So, getting to meet Oscar De La Hoya, you know, and that was super surreal because again, you meet this dude who I've, you know, always rooted for him as a kid, even though majority of his fights I probably was too young to remember. Yeah. But I mean, I watched mostly the ones he lost, unfortunately. But I remember being old enough at that age when he fought Mayweather and being like, yo, dude, homeboy won, man. Yes. Like, there's no, like, Oscar won. But again, Mayweather's one of the best, you know, he's one of the best defensive boxers, right? So, again, like, it was. I remember seeing that as a kid. That was like the big moment, and then meeting him in real life and being able to shake his hand and like all that kind of stuff. He was really cool. Such a nice, humble dude. Yeah. And he has a crazy story in itself. But we were telling his story of how he came from, you know, being born and raised in East LA, you know, playing the Olympics, having his mom die right before breast cancer before the Olympics. He won that for her, and then goes on to have such a crazy career to be a champion in 6 different weight classes. So like, you know, no one else has done that. Yeah. So it was really awesome to tell his story, and that was a really cool moment. We're walking into the ring before, so he was like, hey, we're gonna have a fight, these 2 guys, because he does partners with DAZN. Yeah. And we're at this, you know, in the middle of fucking Palm Springs for a fight. He's like, yeah, you guys can like go to the ring and take photos and get all the B-roll you need. Like, okay, cool. We're walking into this. You know, definitely it wasn't like walking into the fucking, you know, Caesar's Palace or you know MGM, kind of like that, but it was still a big space. Yeah. Crazy lights going off, and you just see this ring. You see the big old Golden Boy logo. I was like, damn. Like, oh shit, this is cool. Yeah. So those are like my 2 big like oh shit moments. Where I was like, fuck, man, this is tight.
Yeah. Is there a country that you've been to that you didn't plan on going to, but your job took you there?
For work? No, I mean, it was only for work. I've only been to Mexico and Canada. Okay. We had planned a trip to the UK for a photo shoot for stuff, but you know, COVID happened and all that kind of stuff, so we didn't get to leave.
What about a city in the US?
Oh, okay. So favorite city, definitely it's gonna be Atlanta. Like, I love Atlanta. It reminds me of Los Angeles, a little more compact, just as diverse, pretty hot too. Yes. Little less homeless. This going on there, and Southern charm. So it's like this. It's like you want to imagine LA, a little more humid, and not as dirty, and barbecue. I was like, all right, I like this. Yeah, and I loved it. Tons of breweries everywhere. Yeah, and what makes the beer there so good is that there is there's a river that runs, you know, right by Atlanta, and a lot of those breweries get that really fresh, clean water. Oh, okay. The better the water, the better the beer.
Yes, maybe because I'm a dude and I want to know any models that you were just like, whoa.
We don't make any women's clothing. So unfortunately, when we use models, it's just more so to tell a story. So it's not just like a dude in a polo. It's like a dude in a polo with like a girl. Oh, okay. And I'm very thankful that our team that goes and scouts the models, we use a lot of agencies. All of them are, not only are they flawless and beautiful women, but they're just so cool. Like, They're like the coolest people ever. Like they'll be going and taking their photo and like, you know, get looking all pretty, like doing the whole face like.
Yeah.
And then after they'll be like, hey, like when's lunch? Are we gonna get hamburgers and stuff? I was like, yeah, I'll go find out for you. Hey, like, hey, yo, like they want hamburgers for lunch. Like, okay, cool, let's do that. And then after you just see like we're all just eating burgers, getting all messy and just like. They're just normal people. Like I feel like what Instagram does nowadays is it puts like these, you know, these women on pedestals to be like, this is the life I live and this and that. But Instagram is literally, you know, the 1 second that photo took of that one moment of their whole day. You know, they still, you know, sorry to break the seal on this, but you know, girls still poop and fart too. So I mean, they still do normal things everyone else does in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's like it's cool to see like. You know, you would think these gorgeous women that just live this luxurious lifestyle, which they mostly do.
Yeah.
But they're just human people too, and I think that's what I enjoy the most about working with models is that you just hang out with them. Like when the camera's off and we're all hanging out, getting dinner after or like the wrap party, and we're just grabbing a couple cocktails and just talking. Super fun. One of the models we worked with brought her mom to the shoot, and I was hanging out with the mom all the time. And the mom was like, "Oh my, here's baby pictures of her," and we're like, "Oh my god, totally!" Like, you know, like, "Oh, I went to Chuck E. Cheese, that same Chuck E. Cheese too." Like, you know, it's like stuff like that, and like it's just fun. They're normal people.
Cool. When you mentioned hamburgers and models, I just thought of Carl's Jr.
Right. Okay. Like Paris Hilton back in the day, which is iconic commercial.
Paris Hilton, didn't Kate Upton do one too?
She did do one. Yeah. That was the same time when there was that video of her doing the cat daddy.
Yes.
Classic.
Good video. Good. Very educational video.
Yeah, I watched it for camera purposes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good angles. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to learn the lens focal length. That's what it is.
Your career has taken you pretty far, man. Is this something that you thought you would do? Because I know when it comes to the fine arts, I relate to it in a sense. It's comedy, the entertainment world, the fine arts. It is a dog eat dog world. It is super competitive. You're gonna be broke in the beginning. You're gonna be broke for many, many years, months, decades. It's hard to make it, to cross that boundary. I know when I got into comedy, that was my biggest thing. Like I had great opportunities, great connections. I got very lucky. I knew that I was blessed. I knew that I was humorous, but I wasn't funny to the level that I should have been to know these people. Like Gabriel Iglesias was the biggest person that I knew, being part of that management, connecting with them, gotten to be part of a TV show. But then I performed a couple shows here and there, and it was fun, great outcome. But I'm like, okay, now it's time to hit the circuit. And got those opportunities and realized like, oh shit, like $50 a show is not worth it, in my opinion, because maybe I already had a full-time job, making pretty good government benefits. But it's tough though. So with you, how did you persevere through that? Because I gave up on that dream because I didn't see myself being broke for 2 or 3 years, because that's comedy. I mean, Gabriel Iglesias is my favorite idol of all time. He mentions like, hey, I was couch surfing on at fans' house for a good couple years before he made it on that show, All That, I believe. So when I hear these comedians and their stories, I'm like, God, that sounds great. You're rich now. You got it all. I just don't want that. I like stability, and I like having that 8 to 5 job with great benefits and retirement. But then I see how famous they are now. I was like, dude, if I would have put the effort, I probably would have been something. How were you able to fight that, like, of not giving up and going for a traditional 8 to 5, maybe corporate job?
I think, I got really lucky in the sense of, let me say this first. I think to what you're speaking out first is kind of maybe more relatable to the actual film industry for people like trying to make movies in Hollywood. There are people, there's like the classic like writers still trying to get that script. There are editors trying to get that big break with a good film or things like that. Directors trying to find that one short that they're a part of that makes it out in Sundance, or actors, this and that. So in that sense, yes, that is very real. I did not go that route. I think because of what you were saying, I know myself, and I don't know if I could have been able to couch surf and done that or anything like that. So I went the corporate route from the get-go, me knowing that, hey, I ultimately wanted to make music videos. I still do. Yeah. Music videos. I mean, I love music. It's quick, short, 3-minute little, pieces of content, and you can still make stories. They can be abstract. There's no rules in a music video. So I like that. So I thought, okay, well, how can I start working that way? And I felt that if I worked with like a company, like specifically a sports company where they sponsor athletes, things like that, I can have my name tied to those things, which, you know, like I've been able to kind of tie my name to stuff with Oscar De La Hoya, you know, UFC fighter Luke Rockhold, you know, people I've worked. I just did a shoot with a photographer for Aston Martin. So like I've been able to kind of start dipping and have these names and like these projects under my belt to add to my resume. So hopefully when I get to a point when I'm like, okay, I'm ready to start going that next step and get out of like the clothing realm, but start working with these other people who might know other people, I can, you know, utilize those names. It's that dog eat dog world of how you're thinking of like, who do you know, right? Yeah. So I try to take a more strategic route rather than the whole kind of wait it out until I get the one big break. I'm like, let me just do this, and then I can still kind of have some fun and do some passion projects on the side to ultimately try and get me to that goal. But even in that role, I had came from, even before, like after college, I took 2 years of work off. I worked, so I ended up working for a fraternity for 2.5 years, traveling the country. Yeah. And I wasn't doing any filming. I was going to college campus talking to girls to try and get guys' numbers to get them to join this fraternity, right? Yeah. So, and I wasn't making that much money. Mm-hmm. But that allowed me to kind of figure out, okay, well, let's see what's next. And I had no film stuff to my name. I wasn't shooting anything. I wasn't taking photos. I didn't even have a camera at the time. Yeah. So I found the brand that I wanted to work for that was working with athletes and things like that I felt that could put me in that right direction. Found the brand, and I just got a job as a coordinator. I was literally in a totally different department for a year and a half, like pretty much organizing events at golf tournaments. So I did that for a year and a half, and then that's from the money that I saved from doing that, I bought a camera, started buying equipment, started editing things. And then what I would do, since I knew the videographer already on staff, I said, hey dude, like, can I get some of the B-roll of the things that you didn't use? He's like, for what? Like, well, I mean, I actually want to do what you do. So I kind of want to put together like a reel of a few things I've done and kind of show whoever maybe when they decide to hire some more people. And he's like, oh yeah, like for sure. Luckily he was super on board with that. Gives me footage. I'm cutting stuff, putting things together. And then I'm like, hey guys, like I know I'm in outside events, but I talked to the director of marketing and was like, here's 2 minutes of like fake commercials I made with, you know, shots you guys didn't use. Excuse me, burped. And he was like, this is actually really cool. I mean, we're not hiring right now, but you know, if we get if our videographer gets bogged down with extra work and you're done with your own work for your current role, feel free to take on this stuff on the side. I was like, okay, cool, thanks. So that was what I did. I just worked hard. I just knew that I wanted to be there, so I did whatever I could to get there, rather than I guess like for a more film route in that sense. But there also are people that wanted music videos who were being PAs. Like I was a PA for a G-Eazy video. That video Hitting Licks, where it's like a film noir kind of vibe. I oddly enough met a girl on Hinge on that dating app. Yeah, didn't work out, but she was like, it's like, hey, like I work for, you know, this company. We're doing a music video for G-Eazy. I know you said you're passionate about that. Like, do you want to be a PA? It's like, yeah, for sure. And then again, also just being there at the right time. The dude who was supposed to be like the dead body for the video didn't show up, and they're like, all right, we need a guy who's like this tall, who can be the dead body. And I was like, I'll do it. So I'm actually I'm the dead body in that music video.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever share that?
I mean, so it's even funnier when there's like credits at the end of the video, and my name is in the credits, but it's at the right point when you watch a YouTube video when it says like the suggested videos next. It covers my name.
No.
So it's like totally. It's like I feel like Mike Wazowski in Monsters Inc., where he's like, I'm on the cover of a magazine, you know, and it's like the fucking barcode covers his face.
Yes.
That's me. I'm like, I was in a music video. It's my foot, and they show my name, but it's covered. But yeah. So I mean, I've been able to like still go that route, but it's just not it's at a very, very, very slow pace because I'm so busy with what I do, and I've really learned to love what I do now, working with these bigger name ambassadors, making 15-second, 30-second ads for a clothing company. And I think, I don't know, that's just been a lot of fun, a lot of fun for me. And I work with amazing people. Like I said, I keep bringing up my team, but like they're awesome. They inspire me. The dudes that I work with, the women that I'm working with, are some of the most hardest working people in a very male dominated area. And it's just been like fun to see the women just kick ass, to see our team just be as creative as we can. So I enjoy it. It's a lot. It's fun. So that's what also makes leaving hard. I'm like, I don't want to quit because I fucking love these guys. You know?
Yes. It's so interesting how everything has a purpose in life, from you doing skateboarding videos, getting that first camera, buying someone else a camera, waiting for that letter, going to art school, UNLV, getting that professional, working these marketing jobs and retail jobs, to now doing this, man. That's so badass.
It's fun. I'm super thankful. I count my blessings all the time, and there's moments where I think back where I'm like, man, that car crash could have gone a different way, or maybe I could have taken that left instead of that right, or what if I bought that and not bought this, or it's always, everything happens for a reason. For how basic that sounds, it does, and so I've just been kind of riding that ride out, and I do know that I ultimately want to do. Bless you. Is that a sneeze?
It's a cough.
Oh, whatever.
I got something on the back of my throat.
Y'all good?
Yeah.
The same way how I think, the same way how. Okay.
Damn, dude, that dog. So I have a dog. So if you guys hear a dog, so I put him away, but I think someone entered the house and just like, why is this dog away? So I do apologize, but
it's all good.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like I said, everything happens for a reason. And I'm just like super thankful, and I've been riding this ride, and whether or not I still want to do the music video stuff down the road. I mean, I'm only 29. I got some time still.
Yeah.
There's always going to be new artists. There's always going to be new cameras. I'll figure it out. I'm bound to hopefully meet somebody else, or maybe our next Life on Tour, what we call that documentary series.
Yeah.
Life on Tour. Maybe the next Life on Tour subject could be someone that might know somebody else I can connect with. So I think that's like how I'm rolling. Just living it day by day, making connections, always shaking hand, bringing the most positive energy I have forward, and hoping for the best.
Hell yeah, bro. Well, dude, I want to thank you so much for taking the time today, being on the podcast, and sharing your story.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Dude, I'm all about that. And plus, you have like such an amazing, not from like rags to riches type of thing, but just like an amazing build up of a story to doing what you love. It's following that passion and actually being successful in it. That's hard.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
But is there anything you want to plug in before we call?
I guess, again, big shout out to everyone who I work with. Again, we work with Travis Matthew, really cool brand. Shout out to everyone that works at Effects of Blank, which is my friend's production company, who we have some stuff kind of in the works.
Okay.
Some cool little shorts and things like that. I'm just kind of on the side of that. I kind of help out with some writing. But the other three guys are super talented, super super smart, and they're coming up with something really funny. So
cool. Do you have Instagram or Twitter you want to plug in?
I would say for me, it's obviously Hansi, Ingood Hans, INGOODHANS. It's Effects of Blank, and then you'll see the channel owners Dylan Chang, Dimitri Papakosmas, Joe Palmer. Those dudes, that's the AP Club. Those are my squad. So
okay, for sure. I'll make sure to put that in the description, both on YouTube and the podcast. I was gonna say Apple, but on podcasts for all three streaming platforms that I use. But bro, thank you so much for being on the podcast. All right.
Also last one. We have a fake podcast that we do called the Daily Cup of Joe. It's a fake one, so maybe we can help you out with that one.
Okay. Thank you.
For sure.
Yeah. Fuck, I always forget. Oh, to watch. All right. All right. I try to memorize this. To watch what you heard. Fuck it, man. To watch with your eyes what you heard with your ears. There we go. Make sure to check us out on YouTube. Check us out also on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Thank you so much for listening to the Real Spicy Podcast. And on that, I am out.
Howdy, fi. Let's go.